Welcome, everybody. We have a few more people coming, but we're going to go ahead and get started because I want to respect your time. This presentation is about 45 minutes or so, and we'll leave some time at the end for any questions, and we'll try to break in between some different topics so that you can ask questions. That was one of the feedback that I got last time was we kind of went through the whole thing and left questions for the end. So as we get through each subject, we'll stop and give you a chance to ask questions. My name is Allison Costello. I am here as a seniors real estate specialist, and I am on a mission to get information out to seniors in our community to help educate and empower, to make sure that everybody is set up for success in that next chapter of life. There's so much information coming at people these days, it's hard to know what's what, and if you're not technical, you're not getting online, you need to hear it other places, so I'm trying to bring it out into the community. I partner with other professionals, so I don't have to be the expert in every area. I have some education partners that I'm working with, and these are people who are professionals in their field that I can refer to, that I know, like, trust, and I've fully vetted them. And this is a space working with seniors is near and dear to my heart. I make sure that everybody I work with has the same level of customer service that I do, that they're
So I'm Julie, I'm with Caring Transitions, and we're right here in Solano County. And so yes, when a loved one's ready to either downsize or move to an assisted living facility, or maybe they've passed away and the family's now in charge of taking care of the estate, we come in and we help with compassion and understanding. Basically, we look through all the inventory in the house and we make sure that everything that is of value is taken care of. It can either be auctioned off or the family takes it. We deal with a lot of donations in the area, so we make sure that everything is transitioned to a loving place, right? So grandma's had something for 100 years, it's passed down, it's an antique. We're gonna look to find a great home for it, in other words, okay? And then we do have our own proprietary auction website. Caring Transitions is a nationwide company. So basically, if we auction something off here in Solano County, people across the nation can take a look at it and bid on it, all right? And then they pay for the shipping if they purchase something from your estate, all right? So yeah, I'm here to answer questions at the end of the presentation. Thanks.
And we have Bill with Cross Country Mortgage. She is my specialist in reverse mortgages. Reverse mortgages are not what you're used to back in the day, and they are a fantastic tool for some people to have in their back pocket. So, Billy?
Great, yeah, we're going to be talking about reverse mortgages next month. Just real quick, a little bit about me. I'm an avid cyclist. I'm a hobby gardener, and I really like helping people find the solutions for their mortgages. Can I tell a quick story? Sure. Well, first of all, Happy New Year, everyone. We're 1/6 of the way through the new year, and this year for me is so much better than last year. Last year, I had a knee surgery I was recovering from, shoulder surgery as well, and just this morning, I tripped over a box of Kleenex. And I thought I was terribly injured, but don't worry, it was just soft tissue damage. All right, thanks for your laughs and groans.
And then we have a few people who were not able to make it today. We have Mark Porter. He is our wealth manager. He helps with the financials aspects of things, if you're wondering financially what things look like, moving into maybe assisted living, downsizing, those things, he can help with the game plans. I do have somebody here representing Senior Helpers. They are our senior home care. The hiring manager. She's here in place. But they're a fantastic team that can come in and help with things non-medical, so helping with the day-to-day routines and activities when you need the little extra assistance here and there. They're a great company, and I've got some more information about them as well. And then we have our guest speaker here today, Jessica.
Thank you. Well, thank you, and thank you for having me, Allison. I am a trust and estates attorney, which usually doesn't make sense to anybody. They don't know what that means. What it means is that I help people plan for the worst case scenario. So whether it be incapacity or when you pass away, we can make a plan for what happens to you if you can't make decisions on your own for medical decisions or financial decisions. We can also make a plan who gets your stuff when you pass away. We also help people who are going through the process of probate. After someone passes away, sometimes a court is required to either verify and confirm a will or to make sure that the assets are passed to the proper beneficiaries, or if you didn't plan at all. We also assist with conservatorships for those people who can no longer make decisions on their own and they have not drafted any paperwork. So we're really here to support our clients through usually the most unexciting and hard decisions and talking about things we don't really want to talk about.
So we'll get into it.
So what I wanted to kind of encompass with this presentation is I want to talk, of course, about what's the difference between trusts and wills, but also what it means to actually have a plan, an estate plan, which is more important than having just one document. Sorry, I didn't memorize these slides, so I might have to turn around. But so basically, it's a strategy, right? Estate planning is a strategy. Wills and trusts are tools that we can use in that strategy. We'll go over the wills part, and then we'll talk about trusts. A lot of times when someone passes away, it's very confusing because you're stepping into someone's life, you having to figure out what accounts did they have? Did they have estate planning documents? There are a lot of people who actually like to hide these documents. They think they're, very important, and they hide them and they don't tell people about them because they don't usually want them to know what's going to happen until they pass away, right? So these things, hiding them or not having a plan, can really create a lot of confusion. And then managing assets when someone passes away, and really trying to make sure that the person's wishes are honored. All right, we can go to the next slide. So what a will is, it's a simple document. It could be simple or more complex, but most of the time they're simple documents. You put it together, and what it is for is basically says, when I pass away, I want these people to get my things. Whatever property you have, it can pass a house, bank accounts, any of your property. It can nominate guardians for your children if you have minor children. It also nominates a person who will step in and manage the estate until it gets distributed to the heirs. The one thing it doesn't do is it cannot it can't do anything when you're incapacitated. It just takes effect when you pass away. Next one.
And for a will, do you have to have it notarized?
You actually should not have it notarized. California law actually requires that 2 disinterested witnesses are the ones who should witness you signing it. They should understand it, that it's your will. And they also are kind of verifying basically that you're not under any undue influence or nobody is pressuring you to create this will. So the advantages of wills is they're pretty straightforward, and they could be a lot more simple to put together. And it's better than no plan at all. In some estates, actually, a will makes perfect sense. A lot of people don't like wills because they go through probate, but a probate is only required if your estate is worth over $208,000 and $850. $208,850 basically. But yes.
So how would a person know whether or not their estate has to go into probate? How do you get notified about that?
So can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so she's asking do you mean your heirs, how would they get notified?
Correct, like the person
Who's in charge? Mm-hmm.
How do they know?
Well, what happens is when someone dies, if they know where the documents are, they would take the document, they would look for assets, right? Do they own a home? They would have to go through, the person who passed away, go through their stuff. So seeing if they have bank account statements, do they have retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, really like deep diving into their personal belongings. What kind of property do they have as far as tangible personal property? Do they have cars? Do they have classic cars? All the things. And then they would kind of guesstimate. We know in California, most real estate is very expensive. So you're usually going to be over that $208,000 limit. You'll want to check the deed and see what the deed says, right? Is there somebody else on it? You also should check the recorder's office because there is a new deed in town, basically. It's not that new, but it's continuing to be acceptable. It's called transfer on death deed, and those are deeds recorded on property. They don't change ownership at the time of recording, but they do appoint a beneficiary. So you can nominate, you can put any beneficiary you want, and all they'll have to do when you pass away is sign another deed, and then the house gets transferred into their name. Some of the limitations on wills, is probate. Really, that is one of the biggest things people don't want their families to deal with. And then just that they don't really plan for incapacity. You can use other documents to plan for incapacity, but wills are just, they limit what you can do. Also I'll say one more thing about probate. It is public record, so when you pass away, you have to notify all heirs. All of the family gets notified. They get a copy of the will. If there is no will, they just get the petition. They have a right to contest. And all of the documents in a probate case are public record, so anybody can go and pull. And in fact, when people are nominated or they accept their position as the executor and they're appointed by the court, a lot of times they start getting bombarded with realtors or inheritance loan. I mean, all of the stuff is overwhelming for them.
And what if there's debt?
Also, creditors have to be notified, which is, my office usually runs credit reports on everybody who's passed away. And then it's also published in the newspaper when you open a probate, and that all goes out, and then you'll start getting notices from creditors. They'll file a claim in the case, and you won't be able to close the case until that bill is either paid or negotiated down and paid. So it eats away at what is left for the heirs. Also, probate's expensive. It's time consuming. It usually takes, I would say, at least between a year, sometimes 3 years, just depending upon what's going on in the case. And it is expensive with court fees, appraisal fees, attorney's fees, all of that.
And if they have a trust, can they skip the notifying the creditors and everybody?
So if they have a trust, they still have to notify known creditors, but nothing gets published. Usually there is a method where you can use the probate method and process for notifying creditors. It just cuts the statute of limitations a little bit shorter. But most people just notice, and get those bills, pay them through the trust. But yeah, that still has to be done. We kind of talked about probate, but probate, it's just, like I said, it confirms that the will is valid. It confirms that everybody is doing the right thing. It monitors, what's going on in the case. There are deadlines that you have to follow, or the court's going to question why you're not following these deadlines. But one of the real big issues with probate is, especially, in these counties, Solano is actually a pretty good county for probate, Contra Costa too, but it does take time to get a hearing, and it takes time to get orders. Yeah, so assets are frozen during that time when nobody's appointed and nobody's, able to do anything. Okay, so trust. What a trust is also another legal document. It basically says similar things as the will. It says, here's who I want to appoint when I'm incapacitated or when I pass away. Here's who I want all my stuff to go to. these are my assets. It usually, if your trust is updated and taken care of, because it's not just a document where you just put it in the filing cabinet and leave it there for years. But if your trust is updated, it will have a schedule of your assets, which lets everybody know, oh, okay, this is what they have, this is what the things that we need to deal with, as well as what assets you have that have beneficiary designations. So a plan that has all that is going to be much easier to deal with. It doesn't go through probate. So as long as everything is funded into your trust, and funded is just a fancy way of saying that it's in the trust, usually by a deed for real estate or by a beneficiary designation. Your beneficiary can be your trust, so assets just flow into the trust. Trusts are great for setting up trusts for your minor children if you have any, or for maybe beneficiaries that aren't good with money. You still do have to appoint a trustee that will step in after you, and that person will be the one, just like an executor for your will, they will be the one who manage everything after you pass away, or if you're just incapacitated.
So if I have a beneficiary that I know isn't great with money, I can set it up so that they get money sporadically instead of all at one time by utilizing a trust?
Yes, absolutely. You can have beneficiaries that have just a general needs trust, and it's your trustee will have ultimate discretion on how's this person doing. Are they they're working, but maybe they're spending all their money. Maybe they're gambling. Maybe they have addiction issues. You can have it where they just are helped out with anything, health related, living expenses, things like that. So a lot of parents, well, let me talk about the advantages and then I'll talk about the bad things. So it can avoid probate, which is great. It can set up trusts for your children. They are private, so they don't have to go through the probate court as long as they're set up properly and funded properly. They function well on their own. So I think they're great, but it just really depends on who you're selecting as your successor trustee. That's one of the most important decisions you'll make when setting up a trust. And there are professional and corporate fiduciaries who can do this job. A lot of people say, well, it's expensive, I don't want to spend the money. Wills are great, trusts are great. Having extra documents with it is really important too. So we always prepare for our clients, whether it's will-based plan or trust-based plan, powers of attorney for finances and powers of attorney for healthcare. So like Allison was saying earlier, when she has maybe a home sale, someone may come to her with a power of attorney. Your power of attorney can list everything that you're allowing somebody you appoint to do. So it could be very broad or it could be limited. So broad, it could be powers to sell a home, to do taxes, to take out loans or mortgages. Very broad, or a little bit more like just a few things, like maybe just selling the home and taxes. And then your healthcare directive, super, super important, is telling your agent as well as medical professionals who can step in if you can't make medical decisions for yourself. When we don't have these things in place, it is sometimes required to get a conservatorship, which is a not fun, very unfun process where somebody is having to go to court and have the judge tell them, yes, you can have these powers. You can decide where this person lives, decide what health care they get, what medications they take. Sometimes even with these documents that might be necessary just depending upon the level of care, but they can often eliminate the need completely. The other problem I see a lot, this happens all the time. So maybe somebody has a trust and that person passes away, but they haven't looked at their plan for years. And they find out that, oh, we have to go to probate because mom had a brokerage account, she never put it in the trust, she didn't have a beneficiary. So if it's over that threshold, you're going to probate court, whether it be a full probate or sometimes you can get a simplified probate, depending upon how current the documents are and if you can prove to the court that they intended to put that asset into the trust. Just really depends what's going on with that situation.
So how often should I look at my trust and reevaluate?
So you should be looking at your trust or estate planning documents in general every couple years. So checking them out, making sure that the people you've appointed, number one, is who you want to be still. You know, relationships change, people pass away or they get sick. Make sure that people can still serve. Also looking at your assets. What do I have? Oh, did I sell something? You know, did I get new assets and forget to put a beneficiary? Those are the things that are going to make it so that your wishes might not be honored or just make the process a lot more difficult for your family. Next slide is great. So we kind of touched on this, just comprehensive estate planning. So doing one thing, obviously doing one thing, doing a will is better than nothing, but really looking at everything. That we don't have a ton of education around this area. Nobody really likes to talk about if we're incapacitated or when we pass away, what we want to happen. It's a very uncomfortable topic, but it is really important, especially for your family, to understand what you want in these situations.
And there's been other families that I've worked with where we're rushing to get things done, and it's very uncomfortable for all parties involved to rush through this process in a crisis moment, especially when it comes to incapacity and trying to get documents in order. And when I say that, sometimes a home is your biggest asset, and you need that for healthcare or for continued care afterwards. And when something happens and you don't have these documents in place and somebody's trying to help you to get the money out of your house to then help with healthcare afterwards, those are big issues. And so that to have these things set up ahead of time makes things run very smooth, makes things a lot easier on the person and the family to navigate the whole process rather than be in a crisis moment trying to figure things out and rush through. And it just never feels good for anybody.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes, you have a question?
Just a side note, I have a friend who did exactly that, had to pull money out, she's executor, had to pull money out of the home for healthcare. And then she discovered after the fact, you have to take the house out of the trust to access the funds. And then she learned that you have to put the house back in the trust. And that's what a step a lot of people do.
Yeah, that's very true. You know, that's what I was kind of saying about who the trustee is. And it's nobody's fault. It's just nobody knows, right, what to do. It's like, and a lot of times if she had to take it out, escrow doesn't usually help with that, or they're not watching out for that, right? So yeah, it could be very difficult. But yeah, great points.
Yeah. And next month, we'll be talking about reverse mortgages, which will also very much help in that situation to pull cash out and have cash in hand when moving through the process of something, a moment like that in life where you need to access those funds. Yes, Billy?
Is there a way you can put a blanket statement in your trust to say all my real estate owned? Or do you have to specify that exact address of property?
Yes, you can put, so we usually put a blanket statement. We put the specific property, and then we also put any assets that I acquire after. The courts are they really want to make sure the intent is there. So if that blanket statement maybe was done 10, 15 years ago, then maybe the court's not going to go for it. And it really is court by court. Certain courts will really let them go through and say, yeah, we see it. Other courts are like, if you don't have these exact documents, you're not getting that order. You're going to go through full probate.
And do we have a question on Zoom? Oh, okay. Yes. Next, very good.
Yes, yeah. Like we talked about when to review every few years, every two really. Yep, there's no one size fits all. So it really is going to depend on your situation. You can essentially protect all of your assets with beneficiary designations. You know, you could put your house, you could do it all with beneficiaries. We have a lot of capabilities to do that these days. Is that the best plan? Maybe not. Beneficiary may pass away unless you've updated contingent and you're very on top of it. You know, it may be a good plan for now if you're going to do nothing else. Maybe that's a good plan for you. A trust is also not for everybody. If you're going to not be consistent about taking care of your plan, your trust, and making sure that there's really no point in having it, right? Working with people, a good attorney that will kind of stay on top of you every few years. They have attorneys on staff, and I work at the Contra Costa Senior Legal Services pro bono clinic in Concord, but they have several in Contra Costa, and then there's also I did find one in Solano County.
All right, so we're going to open it up for questions, but before we do, Billy, we have a survey, just a quick evaluation to help us grow and provide the best information for you. If you wouldn't mind filling that out, at the very end, we'll collect them. And I have a life planner to raffle off. And I like to do life planners because when you're having these conversations, having a book or a planner, end of life planning, sometimes takes the discomfort out of the conversation. So if I'm sitting down with my mom, with my daughter, and I'm having to ask these hard questions, it becomes you as a team versus the book. The book is the one asking the questions, and you guys together are talking about it and answering, versus me coming at you with these questions. Can be a little bit harder. It can be harder to say out loud. It can be harder to have that conversation. So when you're having these moments and you're getting the people in your life in together to have these conversations, sometimes having support like that, just a very simple organizational, they make all kinds now. You can get them on Amazon, you can find them all over, end-of-life planners, and then that way it will help you have these conversations a little more lightly. And like I said, it puts you on a team together against the book asking the questions. So
Yeah,
I like
that's
that
great.
technique.
Yeah, I like that too. That's great. Also, I mean, I think that's a great idea because this is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people in my office, and when we get to the part about what do you guys want to happen when you die? What do you want to happen to your body? I could see it. They just get very uncomfortable most cases. So it's great to have it. Yeah. Family decision.
Yeah. Takes the guesswork out of it. And that way you know all the questions to ask. Do you have a question?
Yes, it refers to having maybe a will in place, a will or a trust, either one, whatever suits your situation best, as well as powers of attorney for finances and healthcare decisions. Yes, you're welcome.
Is there any questions on Zoom? Was that a no?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I think she's saying, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. While she's doing that. So this is something that I'm doing every month on the last Wednesday of the month at 1:00. I'm holding a seminar here over different topics. So last month we did Downsizing Made Easy, and we talked with Caring Transitions about the process and getting started with downsizing. Obviously this month, wills versus trusts. Next month we're doing reverse mortgages. The month after that, it's having the hard conversations between adult children and our loved ones. And a few more coming down the pipeline as well. I'm trying to do it once a month now, so I'm super interested to make sure that I'm getting the right information out that people need.
That's great. Yeah, it's great that you're doing this, Allison. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. With that, we're wrapped up. If anybody doesn't have any more questions, feel free to, Jessica will be around for a little bit longer, myself, Billy in the back, Julie right here, which carrying transitions. And if you have any questions about home health, again, they do non-medical helping with daily activities. If you have anything, please let us know and we're around. Our information is also on your handouts. We're happy to help.
Absolutely. Thank you all.
Thank you.